Tonight, a mother charged in her child's death. 4-year-old Kamari Patterson died during police saying he found an unsecured gun and accidentally shot himself.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I just hit top bottom of the video. It's gonna hop right into it. So, first, things look a little different. Like I said, MacBook gave out on me, so I ain't been doing it off the camera, doing it off the iPhone. We might have some hope with that. I'll let y'all know in a few. But back with it, we finna do another North Carolina story, as it is still Monday, the third one for you today. So this one will be out of Durham, and this is actually a pretty sad one. I'm not gonna lie to you. So today we will be talking about Tiera McArthur and her son Kamari. Tiera right now is facing involuntary manslaughter charges after she turned herself in. This is due because her 4-year-old son Kamari ended up dying after he accidentally shot himself with an unsecured gun. So what they are saying is basically, he went up in a drawer, where she said this herself because she spoke to the news. She's been very open with, what's going on and things that sort. As I said, she also, turned herself in. So that's sad. But she said he went up in a drawer and, basically a couple seconds later they heard a gunshot and that's what happened.
Nina, as you can imagine, McArthur tells me this past month has been a never-ending nightmare, not just for her, but for the entire family. She tells me she thinks about her son every minute of every day, and she doesn't want other parents to go through what she currently is.
I never would have thought my child would have went in the drawer and got the gun and shot himself.
The shooting happened on June 23rd inside a home on North Briggs Avenue. 4-year-old Kamari Patterson died. I asked his mother, Tiera McArthur, about that night and why she had the weapon in the first place. McArthur tells me she had the gun for her protection and put it in a drawer at a family member's house. That's where her son found it.
When he stood in front of the drawer, he wasn't even in front of the TV for a minute or two, and we heard the gunshot.
Tuesday, McArthur was charged with involuntary manslaughter.
They didn't come hunt me down or nothing. I turned myself in. And I burned it out.
McArthur tells me following her son's death, she'll never own another gun and encourages other parents to get rid of theirs. She says her son's death left an irreparable hole in their family, and she's taking the loss one day at a time. Clearly, I can tell, that this has rocked your world. This has changed your entire life.
For the rest of my life, I will never be okay. I will never get to see my son again. I'll never get to hear my son tell me he loved me. I'll never get a kiss from my son. My daughter will never see her brother again. She talks about him all the time.
Rest in peace to Kamari. Very, very sad situation. It's very sad for a lot of reasons. Obviously a 4-year-old boy lost his life. He don't even know really what's going on. He didn't even get to, do anything for real, and his life is already gone. So that's pretty, especially for an accident. It's definitely sad for Tiera, because now, she involuntary manslaughter. She may, face some jail time, and she also lost her son's life, and she has to deal with that, and she probably blames herself, which probably hurts even more. And now she she has to really live with that, and so that's really sad. So I'm really hoping and praying for Tiera to come over top of this. Obviously, she's been encouraging people not to have guns and things of that sort. I'm gonna be honest, that point I do disagree with just a little bit, because one, obviously, they kind of showed the area she lived in. So she lives in East Durham. If you're unfamiliar with North Carolina, or you're unfamiliar with Durham, the East Durham is the worst part of Durham, and it gets cracking in Durham. Durham is serious. When I tell you somewhere is serious, I'm dead ass. Durham is serious, especially that part of the city. So if you living over there, honestly, I wouldn't live over there without a gun. It's just, I encourage people probably to, if you are going to have a gun, especially when you have a small child around, even have a safe. And even on top of having a safe, I probably would leave it unloaded or next to the clip. And, just in case, because really, I would have a weapon just for, protection and, in case of a home invasion and things of that sort. Because I wouldn't want to, me personally, the reason why I, am a proponent of guns and form of protection, it's just like some situations, like you need one. Like someone just busts up in your crib, home invasion like that, and it's like hiding and calling the cops. Yeah, they might tell you to do that, but we know how sometimes cops response time can be slow. Like say the cops take 15, 20 minutes. We don't have, your life, can be over in 15, 20 minutes. You don't have the, you don't have 15, 20 minutes when somebody breaks into your house. But, and I'm not saying, go out here and, be goddamn John Wick, but, just, have it to protect yourself and things of that sort. So I wouldn't live in that area, but I would just say, probably should have a safe. Now, the only thing about a safe is, kids can still figure out codes and things of that sort, especially if you use a number code that's like your birthday or something. That's also, I'll, be smart with that as well. Like I said, just leave it unloaded, because even though he did pick up a gun, if he's, if it's unloaded, one, I don't know what kind of gun it is. It could, but the thing is, if it is a Glock, if y'all don't know, from people who don't know much about guns, Glocks don't have safeties. Other guns, brands of guns have safety. Glocks don't. So, but Glocks are very reliable because they tend to jam at least. So that's why a lot of people hear niggas talk about Glocks a lot. But Glocks just, like I said, they don't have safety. So it just would have been very easy for somebody, if you're going to have kids around, I probably, would have a gun with a safety. Like I said, leave it unloaded, as well as if you really just need the Glock, I would say probably like get a double trigger though, so it makes it very hard to pull and things of that sort. But like I said, leave it unloaded for real, because I understand, you want to get to it quick, but that's why I say leave it next to the clip. It's going to be hard. I don't think somebody that young, if they do get through the wall and through the safe, would know to pull the safety off and, load the clip up. So I'm not exactly, going to discourage guns because of this, but this was a very freak accident. That's very sad to see. Obviously, like I said, rest in peace, Kamari. And, I'm hoping the best for Tiera, because she ain't want this to happen. That's very sad. But that's all I got to say, though. Like, share, subscribe, comment. IG to the bottom bill, and we out.